Alright, so this latest chapter of Black Clover was pretty fun. With the previous chapter, we received a glimpse into the past of Nozel Silva. As Megecula cursed his mother, he was completely helpless, and from then on, her health rapidly deteriorated. The rest of the family assumed this to be the case on account of Noel's birth, and unfortunately she could not tell them otherwise, and neither could Nozel, as he had been cursed as well. That if he told anyone, he would die and the curse would spread like a plague. Because of this, Nozel sought to figure things out on his own for the sake of saving his beloved mother. But nothing he did wound up being successful, and so his mother told him to stop for his own good. She would tell him that although it's not easy to get stronger, that one day all of her children would be stronger than her, and so Nozel needed to continue living. And when she eventually did die, Nozel swore to himself that he would become stronger for the sake of avenging his mother and protecting his siblings. And with that, because of how incompetent Noel seemed to be with her magic, he refused her and said terrible things to her for the sake of deterring her from a fate similar to her mother's or even his own. And now finally, in facing Megecula, he would have his revenge. His assault on Megecula was unending, but on account of the magic she had access to thanks to the souls she possessed, including his mother's, her defenses were impeccable. But regardless, Nozel's Mercury would overtake her and destroy her form, exposing her heart. And with it now being exposed, Noel would appear to deliver the final blow, as together the siblings had done it. They had defeated Megecula. And to follow her demise, the soul of their late mother would emerge and embrace them briefly, leaving them speechless with tears flowing from their eyes. With this latest chapter, we would see the magical abominations of Megecula begin to dissolve and reveal their more unsettling composition. But with Megecula's defeat, the curse on Lolopechka began to erode as well, and in her case, reveal her entire body. What was really awkward and embarrassing, as Noel would appear and send Asta flying. She would then hug tightly onto her friend wearing a dress made of water provided to her by Undyne, as Undyne herself was now really small on account of using up so much of her power. Asta would then make his way back to Noel and question why she was being so strange, but she couldn't even look at him right now. She was downright panicking on the inside and really embarrassed after coming to terms with her own feelings previously. But in her embarrassment, she would just send him flying yet again. So yeah, anyone who assumed Noel would not continue being a tsundere, I hope you are not too disappointed. Meanwhile, Nozel was in a similar predicament, as despite the curse having been lifted, he had no idea how to speak to Noel as an older brother should. And I must say, the fact that the curse has been lifted is so major. I honestly cannot wait for the rest of their family to learn the truth and have to recognize their prejudices towards Noel to be wrong and unjust. Meanwhile, as Ril's Valhalla spell faded, so too would their ability to keep standing. And interestingly enough, Ril would think to himself that he still could not achieve the ultimate picture, then coming to some sort of untold revelation on that front, which is to say that there is certainly more in store for the character of Ril. And I for one am certainly a fan of his following his performance here. The guy is easily one of the best support mages in the entire series. Charlotte was grateful to Ril for the opportunity he had given them, but still felt like it was far too soon for them to die just yet. And at this point, Gaja would approach the larger group with luck, but as he came closer, happy to see his queen safe, Gaja would collapse. And so too would Ril and Charlotte, they were all down. And so Lolopechka would immediately use her water recovery magic on them, but it was not working. Her magic could not heal their wounds. And Asta was helpless here too, as he was completely incapable of healing. Things were looking very bad, but just then, Nott would begin to emerge from the shadows, with Megecula's curse magic no longer impeding his ability to do so. He would say that there is nothing that can be done about them, that at the very least their sacrifices were not in vain, as they had beaten a supreme devil, and that should be enough. That in reality, the righteous are not always rewarded, although he would like for them to be. But at the same time, with him at the behest of luck, there was Mimosa. She would declare that she would not let anyone die and would immediately get to work. This was ultimate plant magic, Flower Princess's dreamland. Oh my goodness, the Clover Kingdom is so stacked right now. Nott was absolutely astounded by this spell, as Noel would say that reality can be turned into whatever they want, because that's how magic works. And I don't know, I guess I can't argue with that. And suddenly these three were completely healed. This is especially crazy to me because there is no indication of fatigue on Mimosa's part. This didn't even seem to be a taxing spell. This isn't even her pushing her limits and doing her utmost. And so who knows how many times she could pull something like this off. But yeah, everyone was happy to see these three healed up, as Olopechka would apologize to Gaja profusely. Gaja would wait for a moment and then suddenly say to her that he loves her, much to everyone's shock, especially the two tsunderes present. And Gaja is a real one, man. He plays no games, as he was sure to specify that he meant not as a queen, but as a woman. What completely short-circuited Lolopechka's brain, as Undyne would become a bit jealous as Lolopechka was apparently hers, yet with it being Gaja, it was hard for her to flat out deny. But while all this was going down, Nozel would have his mind elsewhere, as he would say that as much as he hates to admit it, Noel got stronger because of Yami, and so they absolutely needed to save him. Meanwhile, Nat was thinking to himself how they had all gotten stronger than he once imagined, that now there was only one member of the Dark Triad left for them to face, which then took us to just before the defeat of Megecula as Yuno and Langris faced Zenon. Still in his 100% form, Zenon would say that they'd wasted enough time and that he was ready to put an end to all of it. And it would seem that these two were in a very desperate situation. Yuno was still in his spirit dive state and would ask Langris to buy him 3 minutes, as he would be able to finish things up with his next attack, and that was the chapter. What an interesting declaration that is from Yuno. I wonder what spell could possibly be so strong that would require that much time and also finish the guy off completely. Now in regards to the water spirit Undyne, I wonder what will become of her in regards to her possession, as to take her away from Noel now would no doubt be a loss in power for one of our most important characters. I've already expressed my expectations for that in the past, but I am still crossing my fingers here. Now, I'm sure there are bound to be some people who are upset about Gaja surviving in this chapter, but for me, I can let it be simply because it allowed Mimosa to really display just how capable her healing is. I mean, what better way to exemplify its capabilities than have it be used on 3 characters on the verge of death? But I can certainly get why this may be frustrating for some. But even still, I hope you enjoyed the chapter and our coverage of it enough to subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on. Because when it comes to bringing you some of the best Black Clover content on the platform, Plot Armor has you covered. As always, I am Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.